A composer is a guy who goes around forcing his will on unsuspecting air molecules, often with the assistance of unsuspecting musicians. Milil is the god of inspiration, of poetry, of music, song, creativity, and eloquence. Also known as the Lord of Song, the guardian of troubadours, the watcher of living music, and the one true hand of Ogma. Or, to his enemies, the Lord of the Screeching Racket. He appears as a 10-foot tall, charismatic young man, dressed in bright troubadour clothes and speaking with a voice that pierces the listener's very soul. Sometimes he manifests as a disembodied voice, echoing through inspiring vistas, or as visions projected directly into the minds of artists. Sometimes, when he wishes to bestow his favour upon a particularly prolific performance, he appears merely as a shimmering glow that manifests around the artist, which increases the impact of their delivery. Sometimes Milil will even allow mortals to scry upon him. But this is a dangerous game, for results will vary greatly depending upon his mood at that particular time. If he is of the mind to perform for an audience, he might very well display inspired creations that spring forth new genres that give voice to generations of artists. But if he is not, there is always the chance that he may simply send the remote viewer insane from discordant vibrations upon their eardrums, as a punishment for attempting to violate his boundaries. Milil serves as one of the hands of Ogma, the god of knowledge, beside Denia, the god of writing. And likewise, by his association with inspiration, he oftentimes works closely with Gond, the god of craftsmen, who also serves Ogma. But his relationship with this particular colleague is, at oftentimes, fairly strained, due to Gond's boorish lack of foresight. Milil's penchant for spreading beauty, joy, and wonderment through art makes him very popular with the goddesses Sune, the princess of passion, Lyra, the lady of joy, and Mistra, the mistress of magic. Likewise, as a patron of the arts, Milil maintains a somewhat one-sided friendship with Finder Wyvernspur, the god of cyclical transformation, with Milil wholeheartedly supporting the younger god in all of his endeavours, but who, in return, without being particularly ungrateful to Milil, is nonetheless somewhat cynical about the more traditional, structured forms of art that Milil represents. And finally, while Milil prefers to make friends rather than enemies, Cyric, the god of lies, loathes Milil for his frequently being the target of the Lord of Song's satirical mockery. The Lord of Song dwells within the House of Knowledge, which is Ogma's domain within Tir na Nog, in the realm of the Outlands. There his mortal petitioners may join him in the afterlife for an eternity of revelry and song. Besides showering his favour on future petitioners through inspiring great art, the most common way for Milil to aid his followers is in the spontaneous dispelling of darkness and of the scalding of radiant energy upon creatures of the night. For indeed, beauty and prose may yet shine forth, even in the darkest pits of despair. Milil is a lesser deity, and his neutral good alignment represents his benevolence, his optimism, and his love of beauty and of freedom. His clerics often adopt the light or the knowledge domains, as well as often multiclassing as bards, who may also draw their bardic magic directly from Milil. He bestows the power to turn and destroy undead to his clerics as light turns away the darkness. And his weapon of war is a thin blade named Sharp Tongue, while all of his clerics, and all of his divine casters for that matter too, they all train in the rapier, as a weapon befitting grace and elegance. His holy time is sunrise, when the night gives way to the possibilities of the new dawn, and his followers pray for spells the first thing each morning upon rising, to the light of Sune's passion. They perform the Song of Praise every morning, and again to celebrate great achievements and moments of good fortune. The Song of Sorrow they save for funerals, and the Song of Welcoming when an initiate enters the faith. Followers are expected to compose their own variations upon these melodies so that they always remain fresh in the ears and never monotonous. His followers are known as Mililan, and the members of his church are Sorlin, the head of which is known as the Patriarch of Song, who makes his office in Waterdeep. Congregations of Sorlin are found throughout the north, especially in the city of Silvery Moon, while scattered Mililan are found across the length and the breadth of Faerun, often working as teachers, as judges of bardic competitions, and as wandering minstrels. All professions by which they may encourage the flourishing of arts across Faerun. Of particular importance to their order is the transcription of all musical and oratory creations, often preserved by magic, so that they may be enjoyed by future generations yet to come. Sorlin and Mililan will often also join adventuring parties with gusto, to seek inspiration, to write of their companions' heroism, or to simply unearth lost art that calls out to be shared with the world. For indeed there is no greater tragedy than the erasure of art from memory. The calendar events that all Mililan and Sorlin mark are the grand festivals that punctuate the midpoint of spring, when all of the faithful gather to sing the call to flowers, and Midsummer, the time of the grand revel, which is an orgy of feasting, dancing, and of course, the wicked satire of tyrants. There the faithful gather together in a grand chorus, beginning a great performance with a prayer and an aria delivered kneeling before an altar, followed by a gathering, growing, uniform hymn that accompanies offerings made to Milil, and then rising to a glorious crescendo that moves the hearts of even the most irreligious listener. In my world, the diseases and the madness that ran rampant during the divine spell plague caused a great many to lose faith in the existence of beauty. But as the generational trauma of that blackened half-century pervades down familial lines, through those who lived through it, they may yet find union with those who only know a better world untouched by that darkness through the expressing of things that they may not give voice to through art. Thus, the worship of Milil has flourished in all liberal societies that have grown out of the ashes of the old world. For indeed, in a sense, numbers, descriptions, and death tolls do not adequately convey the truth of a horror so great that the mind itself cannot comprehend it. Yet, a mournful ballad and a sustained note of misery in a minor key. This may convey at least a shard of a wordless aesthetic truth that defies cold description. The religious edicts of the Sorlin are as follows. Life is a song, from the first note at birth to the final chorus at death. Spread beauty holistically through the whole song, not just the lyrics and the music. Do not destroy music or instruments, and never interrupt a singer mid-song. Listen to the world, in addition to filling it with your song. Remember that mere noise may yet be a sweet melody in another's ears, so you should never silence bad music if it springs forth from a place of joy. Devote yourself utterly to spreading music and to teaching the arts wherever you go. Sing to Milil every day. Know that music is the most precious gift of all, so encourage it, teach it, and preserve it always and in all forms. Awaken songs of love and love of song among all folk you may, and offer up your performance freely. And finally, always seek new melodies, methods, and instruments to master your art.